following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network and our review show of AEW Dynamite. I'm your host with the most on the West Coast, Karlifornia and Fury. A joy to be with you all once again, and of course, my esteemed co-host, the one and only Jooseyboy. What's going on, bro?
What is up, my friend? Another episode of Dynamite. Let's chop it up, brother. I know you got a big show that you want to get to. So
yep, I'm going to see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical, tonight. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And so let's get through this, bro.
You know what, Carl? That's quite fitting that you're going to see that, because we saw a lot of Oompa Loompas on this episode, didn't we?
That's true, bro. That's very true. We started the show off with Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, taking on Allin 5 Angels. I'd never heard of this guy before, seen him before. I don't know if he was any of these backstage segments we've been complaining about over the last few weeks. But, bro, what did you think of the opening matchup here on Dynamite?
Well, I'm going to try and keep it concise, this review. It was refreshing to see the champion actually open the show. I know that we complain about that when it comes to pay-per-views and stuff, but it's not always a bad idea to spread out the placement of your main stars, because you want people to tune in through the whole episode. And if they always just expect Kenny Omega to be in the main event segment, they might not be as inclined to tune in from the beginning. The match itself was technically fine. I didn't really have a lot of problems with what happened in the ring, but it went on a little too much. And I'm going to give this your favorite rate. You know what? No, I'm not. I do think that because this went on a little too much, and because I think there was no issue going into this between Angel and Kenny Omega, I'm going to have to give this a D-, which might seem like a low rating, but I just felt like this was a foregone conclusion and it was worthless.
We've been going on about foregone conclusions for a good 10 weeks now, I'd say, and that's what this was. I wrote down, does nobody ever get sick of these matches always kind of like being the same? You know, there are a dime a dozen these types of matches, you know, that they'll start off, it'll be a little bit of a back and forth. Something will break down, something will go onto the outside, there will be a dive, or someone will jump onto somebody on the outside. There will be, you know, the surprise pinfall attempts from the guy that you know is not going to win the match. The fans, for whatever reason, still buy the fact that it might be possible he's going to get the win. We know he's not. And then eventually Omega just gets the victory in the end. Like, the fans were into it. I wasn't. And I'm not trying to pick on the match. Wasn't trying to look at it from a negative point of view, but why should I care? I want a reason to care about the match that's taking place. That's the reason why you watch a wrestling match. There has to be some sort of heat going into it. I don't really like cold matches that much, especially ones where you know the outcome ahead of time. The fans stand and clap after the match is over, and I just wrote down, why are they so happy to be given content where they know the conclusion ahead of time? Yeah, I just don't understand some of these fans sometimes. I'm not expecting them to boo them. I'm not expecting them to shit on the match, but I think with this being your main program and you having a roster stacked like that, I don't really think there's need for foregone conclusions on the scale that we get with AEW. If it was just one a show, I wouldn't give a shit. But the scale of the foregone conclusion is too much. The attack takes place after the match. The referee's doing fuck all about it. Just standing there. Again, we talked about this with NXT, so we're not just picking on AEW with the referees. This shit seems prevalent. The referees are just pathetic out there. We saw Hangman coming out a mile away. We knew that was the whole point of this. Thought Page looked awesome. He's got a great sense of fashion.
Yeah,
and I wrote the segment at least ended okay. The way that it kind of ended, I liked. But bro, to just get to this spot here where we have Hangman holding the belt, looking at Omega, that took us 14 minutes to accomplish that.
Yeah,
I think we could have shaved maybe a good 6 minutes off this, and minutes off some other things later in the show too. Maybe fucking put Ricky Starks on the show, who hasn't done anything in fucking weeks except for the Brian Cage thing with the angle that took 10 weeks to fucking finally get to the conclusion where they were barely even interacting on screen. Where is he? Where's Team Taz? There are so many people that aren't being utilized right now, and if you shave minutes off, you can find time for them later on. On these shows here. So anyway, moving forward, bro, Malachi Black promo, what did you think?
I thought this was fantastic. This was an A- effort from Malachi Black. He's becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, it's, just same with him. I'm liking it. I'm not offended by it. I have a feeling that we're leading towards a Malachi Andrade versus Cody and Huck tag match at Full Gear. If they were smart, I think that's what they should do. Yeah. Moving forward, CM Punk. I will take this one, bro. I wrote, can we please get a solid angle already? There's some good content in the promo. I like that, when he's talking about Moxley and he brings up his past about, I know what it's like when you're on the road and you're not well. And, he got heat for wanting to look after himself, and that John's doing the right thing, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I like that. Then he starts talking about Eddie Kingston. And the only problem I really have with this is, the promo was fine, but this feud is built on a story that we aren't even aware of from years ago. So I hope when I have their confrontation on Rampage, which I probably won't see, I hope that they at least delve into that and give us a reason to actually care about whatever this issue supposedly is. They're building a story and an angle based on, at this stage, wanting an apology for being interrupted. So I think that's weak. It better blow up. This better become dramatic. This better go on for months and months. This better not be one and done at Full Gear. If they do that, it's a disservice to Eddie because, once again, going against the grain, they're turning him heel right now, it seems, just for the Punk thing, when, as I said a few weeks ago, he was getting so over, going after that TNT title with Miro. So I think they're doing the wrong thing here, turning him heel. So it better not be one and done, and he better not just be copping a loss to Punk and moving forward. That's just my opinion. What did you think, bro?
All right. So had a little bit of a snafu there, but we are back. As I was saying, I think, these guys know that there's a lot of cross-pollination between AEW fans and independent wrestling fans. And I think that sometimes these guys forget that in the heydays of Punk and Kingston and Bryan Danielson's independent wrestling days, digital media, social media, it wasn't the same that it is today. Yes, we had digital media and stuff, but it wasn't as rapidly and easily shared and accessed by so many people as it might be today. And a lot of people will have no idea about the history of Punk versus Kingston. And a lot of people watching probably have still never seen an independent wrestling event in their life, like actually bought a DVD or an iPay-per-view to watch one prior to the proliferation of streaming as we see today. So the promo itself, I would go and give it a C+, but I don't have anything much else to add other than what you said before.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Moving forward, Miro with a promo. I'm glad he's in the tournament taking Moxley's place, and it took Moxley having to be taken off TV for this unfortunate reason for Miro to actually have something to do instead of just doing little vignettes every week. Talking about his God. And I was glad because at this point now, I don't know who's going to win between him and Orange Cassidy. So at least this match out of the tournament is one where you don't know who's going to win after we've been complaining about the foregone conclusion Eliminator tournament in the last few weeks. Do you have anything to add?
No, I wish it was more fortunate circumstances that Miro was replacing him. I like the fact that Miro is building his own storyline. His relationship with his God is evolving as the weeks go along, and he's finding reasons to attribute what's happening to him on the show to his personal relationship with his wrestling God. So I like the fact that he's progressing that storyline himself through his own promo work. it's quite exciting and entertaining to watch. I really like the whole vibe and feel of it. I'd probably give the entire thing, a B plus. Like, this was really well done. Great work by Miro on this show.
Cool, bro. Moving forward, there's a Super Kliq interview with Alex Marvez. And this obviously breaks down into a big brawl. Can you take it here from me and let me know what you thought?
Yeah, I certainly can. I thought that this was where the show started to go off the rails just a fraction. We both agreed as we were watching that this went on for too long. Obviously the ultimate point, end point of this brawl was a spear on the steel grate by Christian to Adam Cole, followed up by Christian delivering the concerto to Adam Cole. Obviously, we're setting up for a singles match between those two at Full Gear. That part of it, the ending part of this whole brawl, was great. The promo beforehand was just another little promo of them making jokes and not being serious. And the actual choreography and blocking of this brawl segment, the way that it moved from backstage onto the main stage, the crowd was into it. So I'm giving it credit on that basis. But I would give it a C- because I personally felt like it just looked clunky and all over the place until they actually got to the end. And it took about 3 times as long as it needed to get to that point.
Yeah, I'm going to pretty much reiterate all of that. I liked how it began because I wrote, here's something different. A fight breaks out backstage, which leads them to brawling into the arena. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's something different that we don't usually see. Props to them for that. But this is where it all starts going downhill. Mm-hmm. I yelled out, where is the lighting when they're brawling with Luchasaurus, out near the crowd there? You could barely see you could see what was going on, but the lighting was so Bush League. And just as the segment was rolling along, the brawl continued, and the Bucks and Cole were up, and then they were down, and then they were up, and I just thought it was terribly put together. The concerto was decent, but they always take too long to get to their destination. Like we said earlier with Omega and Hangman Page, 14 minutes to get to what they needed to. Mm-hmm. Not necessary to take that long, and this was exactly the same. It took way too long to get to what they wanted, which was that concerto. And, after he hits the concerto, no referees, no medical personnel, no one comes out to check on Adam Cole because he's laying there. It doesn't look like he's breathing either. He's just laying there like he's dead, and I just thought that looked really weird.
It's again, this is an investment on the company's behalf that they're putting money into. They need to try to protect their investments. Brock Lesnar goes out there and destroys somebody on TV. They've got an army of refs and agents and producers screaming out from backstage to sort this thing out. They suspended Brock Lesnar in storyline last week on SmackDown because he laid his hands on the authority figure, Adam Pearce, and fined him $1 million. And guess what? You know what? We've all seen that shit happen before. Someone gets suspended for causing a ruckus. But the reason why they have to consistently do it is because it means something when somebody breaks the rules the next time. If they actually punish people for breaking the rules and causing problems on the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I also feel like it came across like quite a heel thing to do a concerto. It's such a vicious thing. I'm not sure if this is the right way to go about kicking off an angle with Christian and Adam Cole. I think they could have done something a little different to my taste for a babyface getting up over on a heel. Moving forward, bro, there's a Ruby Soho Statlander hype video. Nothing really to add there. Nicely put together. Moving forward, AAA Tag Team Championships on the line. FTR defending against Samurai Del Sol, the former Kalisto from WWE, and Aero Star. I'll quickly run through my notes. There was a dive somewhat near the beginning of the match. Del Sol's dive was good. Aero Star's dive was garbage, and it made one of the FTR guys kind of look a bit silly just standing there waiting for him. Another problem that AEW seem to have with their dives. I don't know how many we have to have every fucking match, but I understand they're luchadors and this is what's expected. So it's a cold match that I don't really care about. but I'm happy for Kalisto that he's getting an opportunity here. We both remarked Aerostar's timing was just off for most of this match. Almost everything he did seemed just a little bit off. But anyway, nonetheless, FTR get the win and retain the AAA tag team titles. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I basically echo a lot of your sentiments. I thought there was some really good stuff mixed in throughout this, but it was clunky in a lot of places. I just want to say on Aerostar, I feel bad for him because it's obvious that this guy's coming off of wrestling mostly in Mexico, and now they've stuck him on national TV, hitting time cues and working on American TV. And it was clear that he needs a few matches, on Dark and Elevation. You've got these fucking shows that you have on YouTube every week. Put him on there for a few weeks before you do this match. Give him a fair chance to actually adjust to hitting that timing and stuff like that, because he felt like he was a step behind FTR, especially when he was in there with Harwood. It especially felt like, man, Harwood's a step ahead. He's already ready to move into the next spot, and Aerostar's only still wrapping his head around the last one that they had planned. I did not blame that on him. I know for a fact from watching previously that he's an excellent wrestler. I think that the team of him and Samurai Del Sol is going to be a good one once he has a bit more time to acclimatize to the American TV style. And I would give it probably a D+, because it was just a little too clunky. That can't be ignored, even if I don't blame them for it.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Moving forward, Hikaru Shida gets given her trophy for a 50th win. I still think that's ridiculous. I just don't think that people should be getting rewarded for just, winning a certain amount of matches. I don't think it makes any sense because, okay, well, now every time someone gets a 50th win, I want to see them get given a trophy. Nyla Rose interrupts after 2 seconds. Yeah, I hated this. Cut and paste, beginners booking 1-on-1. We've complained about it for weeks. They stopped doing it because they did it about 5 times in one show about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Is there no other scenarios where we can get a confrontation? Nyla just stands there, dresses her down, berates her, and then walks off, and Shida just stands there, doesn't say anything. Yeah. So you made Hikaru look stupid as far as I'm concerned. What did you think?
Yeah, look, I'm not even going to comment on the actual promo itself because I just think it was a waste and a disservice to all involved. But the thing is, AEW with their backstage promos, man, they really don't seem to be getting the idea that pro wrestling is meant to be a simulated sport. There are millions of times or different scenarios, that could occur within the context of pro wrestling. Press conferences, locker room meetings between tag partners, locker room pep talks between a manager and their charge. You got the backstage interviews, the in-ring interviews, the pre-taped vignettes, the pre-taped confrontations. You've got the catering room, the boiler room, the basement, the rooftop, the concession stand, the audience, the sub-basement, all these different combinations of location and context that can conceivably occur within the wider context of a professional wrestling show, because professional wrestling is a simulated sport. There's too much of this inside acknowledgement on behalf of the talents and the audiences altogether that, we're all just here to watch a fictional show and let's just cheer at how fun it is. This is why so many of their storylines don't work the way they want when they do try to take things seriously, because they spend so much time doing these contrived, this was clearly a little backstage segment that was just stuck there because they want to build to a match between Hikaru and Nyla Rose. There was no other reason for this. It was transparently put there to get to something else. And that's a problem. Everything that comes before the big match should feel like it was an organic journey to getting to that confrontation. And that's all I've got really to say about that.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I had with Bobby Fish and CM Punk. Like, they just had to come up with something to have pretense to them having a match, and now the issue's over between the two of them, one and done.
Yep. That can never happen.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Moving forward, bro. Inner Circle and top American Top Team have their confrontation as to them selecting Inner Circle selecting who was going to be on their team for American Top Team against the Inner Circle for the street fight at Full Gear. Bro, what did you think?
I actually thought that this was a really strong promo from both the Inner Circle and American Top Team. Yes, Jericho annoys me a little bit, but I thought that this was really well done on both sides, and it's actually got me a little bit invested into the match. Inner Circle started selecting members of American Top Team that they wanted to put in the match. Lambert made a point of saying, hey, I deserve more respect than to be called a fat-faced dipshit. I started American Top Team 20 years ago. I'm member number 1, if you really think about it, so show me some respect. That, of course, results now in Dan Lambert, the heel manager, being chosen as an active participant in this match. Paige Van Zandt was out there. She went back and forth with Jericho a little bit again. I think Jericho enjoys bobbing with her. She clearly has some charisma. She's stunningly beautiful, as stunning as any other woman in the wrestling industry today. I personally think there's a career in pro wrestling for her if she ever wants one. I'm going to give this a B-. I thought that this did a real good job in kind of correcting the missteps of last week's segment, and now it's kind of got me back invested in the match.
Yeah, of course, as usual, we skipped the Inner Circle's entrance, bro. Mm-hmm. The interruption takes place. Dan Lambert was on fire, perfect with his choice of words throughout the whole thing. Also like the Popeye comment from Jake Hager. Very funny stuff. That was good. But yeah, I saw this coming a few weeks ago when, they had to come up with a stipulation for the Sammy Guevara, Ethan Page match last week, where they get to choose the members of the team. And it's like, well, why would that be an awesome thing? Because everyone on that team's a killer. Obviously, they're going to probably put fucking Dan Lambert in there somehow because, it was obvious to me. Maybe not so obvious for other people, but I saw that coming. But anyway, it was a decent segment. Moving forward, Tony is interviewing Dante Martin and Leo Rush and
it was Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty.
And Lee, yeah. I just thought that whatever this angle is that they're doing, it's a little off for me. It's been like 3 weeks now, and I just feel like, where is this going? What did you think?
Yeah, I think this would actually benefit from some more pre-tape stuff from Leo Rush. I can't believe I'm saying that because when he first came back, I was like, God, fuck no. But you know what? He's been growing on me. He's done well in this role. You know what? I agree with you. Something is a little off. Once again, it just feels like Tony Khan doesn't have the same idea about wrestling segments that you and I might have. It's like he can't think of a new scenario to put them in. So it's just another let's cut to backstage and here these guys are talking segment. Good things I want to point out. Number 1, I thought Matt Sydal was outstanding on the microphone, acting as Lee Moriarty's mentor/manager in this promo. I thought his verbiage was good. I thought he had like some good oomph behind what he was saying. That impressed me. He's not really known as a guy who can talk that much. Wanted to shout him out there. Well done. And he's also looking in tremendous shape for a guy that's 41, 40-ish. Number 2, even though the angle is a little bit off, I'm excited for the match, man. I'm a big mark for Dante. I love a good match where it's a bunch of high flyers going in there and doing all these really nice flips and rolls and dives. So I'm excited for the match in that regard, even if I do agree that it's been a little off the way that they've built to it.
Yeah, just as it was rolling along, I was like, why are we watching this? Why are we having a discussion about them maybe having a tag team match? It's just, where's the issue here?
Yeah, either have it or don't. Like, just either have the match or don't.
Why do we need TV time for them to have a discussion about it? Moving forward, bro. Jamie Hayter and Anna Jay in the TBS title tournament. I will go through my notes here. 2 very good-looking ladies here going at it. What I like about this, bro, was that I didn't know who was going to win ahead of time. It could have gone either way. You could totally see Anna Jay moving forward in the tournament. You could totally see Jamie Hayter moving forward in the tournament. So that was what intrigued me most, was that, gosh, I don't know who's going to win. You knew FTR were going to retain. You knew Kenny Omega was going to win earlier. So this is what I liked about it. And the TBS tournament is more interesting than the world title eliminator tournament because at least, yes, as I just said, we don't know who's going to win some of these matches. Hayter wins, makes sense with Britt and Reba, Rebel, whatever her name is, at ringside. I still can't remember which one it is, Reba or Rebel.
It's Rebel.
It's Rebel.
Rebel,
okay.
not Reba, bro. Don't you know the catchphrase? Like...
Bro, I keep getting muddled up with it. And then at the end, bro, it's like, okay, I know that there was a run-in from Thunder Rosa because she's facing. Is she facing Jamie? Yeah, she's facing Jamie in the next round. We don't need to have people running in on each other or fighting each other or coming up to one another just because they happen to be against each other in the tournament. We saw this with Red Velvet and the Bunny last week. It's a tournament. They just so happen to be facing one another. You don't have to make up a pre-existing issue just because they happen to be having a match coming up in the tournament. Like, just take it easy. Like, I know you like maybe coming up with pretense for things, but when it's a tournament, you don't need it. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Moving forward, bro. Oh, sorry, I didn't get your thoughts. What did you think of the match?
No, I thought this was good. I'd give it a C-. Obviously, beautiful young women. And yeah, like you said, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. But yeah, not much more to add other than what you said. I thought you nailed it there, man. Very astute.
Thanks, bro. Moving forward, Jade Cargill with a promo. I just wrote whatever.
Man, let me talk about how sexy Jade Cargill looked. Oh, you know, I saw Nyla Rose go on Twitter earlier and compare Jade Cargill to Tweety Bird with the yellow fuzzy sweater. Girl, you made that shit work, girl. You know, shout out to her. I like Jade Cargill's intensity, but I feel like they're just a bit too inconsistent with the way they use her for me to really get invested.
Yeah, I agree. There hasn't been enough meat on the bone, I suppose you could say, when it comes to her. I haven't seen one decent angle for her so far. I was actually intrigued by the possible, uniting between her and Nyla. I thought that would have been a decent team with, Vicky and Sterling there. Backing them up. I thought that they could have been quite a force to be reckoned with. So I thought that they were a little bit too quick to end all that. But it is what it is, bro. Okay, moving forward. MJF comes out for a promo and he is going to be ripping on Darby Allin here, bro. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was another stellar promo by MJF, another DJ recommendation. Go out of your way to check this out because we can't do it justice. I loved the fact that Darby actually got some comeuppance this week. You need that. You can't just have either the babyface or the heel be too dominant leading into the match. So this was the right time. You know, MJF has just been a relentless asshole as far as Darby Allin's concerned. Now it was time for Darby to get a little bit more comeuppance here, building on what he did last week with the Invisible Man getup. The only thing I didn't like, once again, was this whole part with Darby Allin doing the beatdown went on a little too long for my taste. I would have gotten to the cactus clothesline over the guardrail from the audience. I would have gotten to that much quicker, and I would have gotten to the ending of this segment with the missed coffin drop and the stare down. I would have gotten to that faster as well. Sometimes, you know what? I figured out the word, bro. AEW, they dawdle in their segments. You know, they dawdle. They just spend a little too much time wafting in the segment instead of actually just bringing it to a strong conclusion when the heat is at its zenith point. But other than that, I thought this was fine. This is probably a C+ from me.
Cool, bro. Yeah, I just wrote it was good, but a little long. There were some production issues, I feel like, here. And the worst part of the segment was, and I hate keep being negative, but for me it was, okay, so MJF is backing up on the ramp, Sting is coming up from behind him, and then we have some like Darby Allin people like with the picture of his face on their head. Like a whole bunch of them came out. And I was like screaming, saying, shoot them with the camera, get a close up so we can see what's actually going on, because it was all the way in the back and we just didn't get enough of a shot of it. It seemed like a waste of time doing it. It was I just felt like it was a waste of time. There was no need to have all those guys come out and then Wardlow and Spears come and attack them. And we barely even got like much camera time on that taking place. So I just thought it was done for the sake of it. Waste of time, and I thought it came across incredibly flat. The end of the segment was a little bit better, but shit, man, like, come on. If you're going to do something like that, you know, I know back in the day, Sting had a thing where he ran in on the NWO, but he only did it after, like, having, like, fucking 20, 30 different Stings come from the crowd and from different locations, not just the entranceway. And then when he finally revealed himself, that's the infamous thing where he takes off the Sting mask to reveal that he's Sting. So, like, you want to compare that to this is flat. That was awesome. You know, you got to think about it. When they do stuff like this, you've got to really fucking make it big, not just small. The way that they did that Starks thing with the marching band should have been way bigger. Back in, fucking 13 weeks ago.
This is one of those scenarios that you hear us talking about where you need to take advantage of the fact that professional wrestling is a work and you need to make it big. You need to convince the audience that Darby Allin has spent the last several weeks planning this big, elaborate setup for MJF, and now he's executing it here. And that is what gets the audience excited. And the crowd at home needs a close-up of those people, like you said, to establish that, hey, this is a big deal, what's happening here.
Yeah. Moving forward, bro. Andrade El Idolo versus Cody. I will run through my notes quickly. I thought it got given a bit too much time. Again, I think some things can be shaved to fit other people in on the show. You've got 2 hours to play with there. You know, let's not give too much time to some of these matches, because, you know, we can always have more matches down the road between these two. You're trying to build to a pay-per-view here. So FTR comes out and helps Andrade, paying back the favor from several weeks ago. Andrade wins, and, you know, I'm sure this will lead to Cody getting his win back at some point. I loved the Arn Anderson showdown with Tully Blanchard. That was really cool. The fans were popping for it. The Lucha Brothers with the run-in, though, I know that they're working with FTR. You got to have more, like, you know, I suppose, interaction between the two teams. I understand, but sometimes I feel like the show is so overbooked with run-ins and people starting fights here and there. Like, it's cool and all, you know, and I hate to kind of complain about something that usually I would probably want to see more of, but it just feels like a lot of these things are the same all the time. There's always a run-in. There's always a fight breaking out backstage over some stupid shit. Tony needs to think of different scenarios, different ways to have these feuds and these interactions that take place before the big blow-off matches, or, you know, the first match of a feud. There is different, and there are different scenarios that you can utilize in order to add content to the feuds as they're moving along. Thank you very much. DJ, your turn.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with what you said there. I don't have a lot to add. Again, it went from being what I thought was a really cool callback to the favor that FTR did that happened a couple of weeks ago. I love the fact that they didn't forget about that story thread. I loved the fact that we can have two heel performers on the show work together, but still not have to become a faction or a tag team or anything from it, which is what they would have done in WWE. They would have had them doing like 6 weeks of 6-man tags and stuff like that. But they didn't do that here. They just did a nice callback to it. Unfortunately, too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, again, if you'd shaved a bit of time off of the Cody Rhodes match earlier, then you would have had a bit more time to devote to this at the end, and it might have made more sense. But because they were trying to shove so much into the space of about 5 fucking minutes, you know, or less, It just seemed like it was too much, too fast, and none of it really sunk in as well as it could have. So it's only going to get a D+ from me.
Yeah, and look, the match was all right.
The
Moving
match
forward,
was fine.
it's just the part of the show that I was like, "What are you fucking doing? Well, what are you doing? Why am I sitting here watching this?" And it's nothing against John Silver. I like him. I think he's cool. But we did not need an in-ring interview with him to talk about the fact he's wrestling Adam Cole on it coming up. And I had to come up with a reason for him to be angry at him because he didn't take his advice or whatever. I was like, this is nonsensical. This didn't have its place on the show whatsoever. I don't know where this is coming from. I just thought, what a waste of fucking time. Who wrote this shit?
Yeah.
What did you think?
For this to happen at a crucial juncture in the show, time-wise, where you and I are paying attention to the time, because it's always crucial to us what they do with that last 20, 25 minutes of the show. That's a crucial thing, because that can often be what you walk away with from that week's episode, is what they do in that final segment. So it was completely inappropriate to put Johnny Hungy out there at this point in the show. This would have been better served as something that was A, done much earlier on the show, or B, not put on the show at all and kept for social media, especially since they just established that Adam Cole is in a much more serious angle with Christian Cage earlier on in the show. So that's another reason why this was kind of didn't really work for me. Nothing against Johnny Hungy. I like him. I like his charisma. He's a favorite of mine, but this is going to get an F because it was just completely misplaced and completely inappropriate for this point in the show.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe someone didn't put their hand up earlier when they're putting together the show. I would have thought someone say, "Hey, don't you think it's a bit weird that we're splicing this bit in between, two big matchups on the show?" Anyway, Red Velvet Bunny hype for their match. Don't care, whatever. Like, cool. Moving forward to the main event, bro. Let's get to it. It is the final semi-final here of the Eliminator tournament. Orange Cassidy and Miro. What did you think?
This was really fucking driving me nuts. I felt like, the longer that they wasted on all of these bullshit promos and stuff, which we were just talking about, the less time there was for a main event. And I wasn't even convinced that Orange Cassidy wasn't going to win against Miro, because I know Miro won the last time they wrestled and Miro is coming off his TNT title loss. Thank God I turned out to be wrong. This match didn't get enough time. We often complain about, matches getting too much time. This one really needed a bit more. If this is your main event and the winner of this match is advancing to the finals of the tournament, I'm sorry. I expected a bit more. It was a disservice to both guys. Positives, though, I thought that Orange Cassidy bumped like a fucking champ. Once again, man, it's amazing when the smaller guy can take good bumps, make that big bull look all the more devastating in the ring. So good work by him. Miro, great intensity as always. Loved the count out spot because I really thought we thought Miro was going to get counted out. So that got us. Really great work. I think these two actually have really good chemistry in the ring. The only thing I didn't like was Orange Cassidy still doing the pockets routine in such a serious match. I understand that, in an average match, he's going to do it. It's mind games and, it's a bit of fun. And there is that element to pro wrestling. But for a match this serious, I felt like that should have been left at the door. And it should have just been, I've lost to this guy before. If I want this title shot in this final spot, I need to fucking whoop this guy's ass. So I felt like that was just kind of taking away a little bit of it. But other than the short time and that one little element, I'd give this a B+. I thought it was really good.
Excellent, bro. So Danielson comes out for commentary. I like the throw that Miro did on the outside. Biggest thing that I was angry with was, luckily we had the Fight TV version, so we didn't have to go to picture-in-picture, but the fact that they had to go to an advert break with 7 minutes left in the show, I was like, what the fuck is with the placement of this? You should have placed the advert when John Silver's interview was. Figured something out. I don't know. This picture-in-picture thing is really fucking weird because they have to do the adverts during matches. They can't just do an advert break between matches, because when they do that, we get Sammy Guevara fucking with his signs and shit. During the advert break, there was a gut-wrench suplex from Miro, which I thought was sick. The last note that I had was not being happy with Orange using the stunner as a regular move. I wish people would just leave some of these maneuvers alone.
Yeah.
But we got what we needed in the end. We got what was supposed to happen. Miro goes over. Miro goes to the finals against Danielson. So I'm sure that'll be a fantastic contest. And that's how we go off the air with Miro and Danielson staring down. So the end shot of the show at least was decent, but I kind of found all this to be a little bit of a weird show in total. So Jooseyboy, that brings us to the end of the show. We need your rating out of 10.
Yeah, I would give this episode of Dynamite a 6.5. I think that there was a lot of improvement over a couple of the crappy episodes we've seen in the last few weeks, but still plenty of room for improvement here. And yeah, like you said, there was some real wonky execution on this show. It was a show where all the destinations were fine, but the journeys to those destinations were a little rocky along the way. So yeah, that's the 6.5 rating for this week.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I didn't feel it was a middle of the road show to be a 5. I felt like it was just slightly less than a middle of the road kind of show. I feel like a lot of the angles that they tried to shoot took too long to get to the destination. I felt like a lot of the angles that took place and the things that were set up weren't set up properly, which led to them coming across messy and overbooked and too many like run-ins and too many. I think he's getting to a point now where he's probably having a hard time because he's got so many people to work with and utilize. And I really think he needs help writing the show. So 4.5 out of 10, which is an improvement on my 3.5 from last week. And your rating was an improvement on your 5 from last week. So Jooseyboy, I want to thank you for your time, for doing the review once again. And please let everyone out there know where they can find you.
Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitch at Jooseyboy. Help me get to affiliate. I need that. I need those sweet Twitch bucks. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/user/Jooseyboy. I'm on Twitter at Jooseyboy. I'm on Instagram at Juicy_boy. And of course, you can always catch me on the WZWA Network right here with this son of a bitch and the other sons of bitches. And just in case you don't know how to spell that shit, it's spelled Jooseyboy. That's Jooseyboy. And I'll see you on social media, folks.
Yeah, I'm Karlifornia, and you can find me at Karlifornia WZWA on Twitter. That's KarliforniaWZWA. Find us here on YouTube. Click subscribe if you dig this shit. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Instagram. You can find the WZWA Network anywhere. Just type in WZWA Network for the URL. But on Facebook, it is the WZWA Network. Also, check out the Insider's Edge podcast. And if you are interested in IRC chat, you should go onto the Ryzen network on IRC and go to #wrestling. There's a great group of people in there to talk wrestling with, and just wanted to give them a plug. And also #WZWA Network. There's a chat room there for specifically chat for our network. So Jooseyboy, thank you again.
Absolutely. My pleasure, my friend.
And thank you everyone out there for watching the AEW Dynamite review here on the WZWA Network. And we will see you down the road.